Welcome to the Clarity Advisor Show, where you'll learn how to grow your team today. Join Ken Trupke and his guests as they discuss what works and doesn't work to grow your team in today's world. And now, your host, Ken Trupke.
Hello, and welcome to the Clarity Advisor Show. Today is another Ask Me Anything show where I address your questions. And feel free to email me your questions. You can send those to ken@clarityadvisors.io. Also, please send me topics you'd like me to cover or guests you'd like to see on future shows. Okay, on to today's question. I understand the importance of core values, but my company doesn't have any, and I'm not sure where to start. I'm the owner, so do I just pick some, or how do I get going? All right. Great question. I'm so glad you want to define core values for your business. I think that's critical to a healthy culture and success. So let's step back first and remember that our core purpose, or our mission, as some people call that, our core purpose defines the what and the who, what you do and who you serve. That is, who are your customers or clients. It's the core values that define how you work. So they're the characteristics that, when combined, uniquely define your team at its best. And that's a very intentional statement because the characteristics could be similar across other companies. Other companies could share some of your core values, but not all your core values. It's kind of like strengths finders, where you might share some strengths with other people, but they don't have your same exact top 5 and not in your same order. So it's when combined that they uniquely describe your team at its best. And at its best is because we're going to mess up. We're not going to live up to our core values every single moment of every single day. And when we mess up, we step back, we apologize, we correct, we make reparation, we do what it takes to get everybody back on track, and then we start moving forward. But at our best, our core values define how we work. And remember, core values are for inside your 4 walls. And that's if you have a physical company building where you all go, or if you're remote or a hybrid culture, well, then your virtual 4 walls. The idea is that it's for inside your company, not outside your company. Now, some people do look at the core values of companies and buy things from companies based on who that company professes to be or things they support and things like that. But in general, I would submit that your customers don't care about your core values. What do they want? They want you to deliver on your promise for the product or service that you've offered. That's it. I want to go and get some milk. I don't necessarily care about the beliefs of the grocery store. Now, your team, however, absolutely cares. So your core values are for your team. They're not for your customers. So don't be confused by that. Because when well done, core values can help you attract and retain great people and help your team be more productive and contribute to a healthy culture. They let you know who's a great fit for your company. And done poorly, core values can lead to division, apathy, and cynicism. You know, that eye rolling when someone mentions a core value that everyone knows isn't true and isn't really how we do things. So, all right, there's tons of blog posts and videos out there about how to determine your core values, how to get started. And there are lots and lots of lists of companies and their core values. So if you're looking for ideas, there's plenty out there. Here are my thoughts as to how to get started. There's 2 general approaches. I call it the blank sheet and the head start. So the blank sheet is literally a blank sheet you send out to your team and ask them to write down 5 words or short phrases that describe your best or ideal teammates. You'll get all kinds of stuff from that. And from there, we'll try to start combining similar ideas and start to narrow it down to a shorter list. But the blank sheet is literally that. Don't give a list of words to choose from. Don't give a starter list of 5 to 7 words. Just throw out a blank sheet of paper and say, write down 5 words or short phrases that describe your best or ideal teammate. And we say that because we want people to have an idea of what they're trying to capture. And what you're trying to capture is the person who best exemplifies who we are at our best. So it might be one characteristic from this person and another from another person. But when we're at our best, what are 5 things that describe us? And the idea here is that people like us do things like this. That's a way of describing culture. And so we're trying to capture what is it about our culture that's unique and what are the values that we here believe and how we do things here. So this blank sheet idea is going to feel more collaborative because we're out there asking everybody for their input, and then we're going to narrow it from there. So the other way of doing it is what I call the head start, where you're going to create as the owner, just go ahead and draft a list of 7 to 10, I would suggest 7 to 10 core values, and then send that out to your team to get them to comment and vote on the 5 that really fit your culture. You'll see that you want to give them 7 to 10 so that they're not just like picking the 5, because you're going to narrow it down. Not all of them are going to get equal amounts of votes. And so you may end up with more than 5, but 5 is kind of what we're shooting for. So you want to use this if you have strong opinions about what you want. If you as the owner already know this is the culture, this is my culture, these are my core values, and this is what I want in my company, totally in bounds. And if you have that, you have those strong opinions, well, then just go ahead and tell us. Just go ahead and list 7 to 10 ideas and let us kind of narrow those down and play within those. But you don't want to give a blank sheet when you have a very strong opinion, because all you're going to do is frustrate people, because you're going to send this out. They're going to come back. They're not going to have your 5 to 7, 7 to 10, whatever ideas. And then you're going to just go, well, here's what I want. And they're going to be like, well, then why did you send this out? So if you have a strong opinion, go ahead and share that and say, this is what we're going to do here. These are the core values our company is going to have, because it's your company. If it's maybe not your company, maybe you're a professional executive and you didn't found it, or you don't have a strong enough role in it that you want it to be more what it is and just define it, well, then you can use the blank sheet and be more collaborative. So there's not a right or wrong here. It just depends. But definitely, I caution you, if you have strong opinions, don't send out the blank sheet. Just give us kind of the cheat sheet, the 7 to 10, and we'll help you narrow it to 5. All right. And what are you looking for in core values? When we say core values, so here are 5 rules about what you want to do with your core values. So you want your core values, number 1, to be short and clear. Try to use 2 to 5 1 to 2 syllable words. So 2 to 5 words that are 1 to 2 syllables long. You can get a 3 syllable word in there sometimes, but just try to avoid those long so here's a couple examples. So rather than say strategize for enduring legacy, you could just say build for the long term. It's just simpler. It's a little bit clearer. Instead of enhance performance immediately, you just say do better today. So just try to keep them shorter and clearer, and using fewer words of fewer syllables will help you. Now, after you have that short couple syllable, couple word value, like build for the long term, you can have a dash and then a couple sentences that explain that. We believe that we're building something that's going to last, and we want it to be thoughtful up front about having the end in mind. You can explain it and expand, but it's nice to have that nice, tight, short summary of it, that build for the long term, do better today, whatever those are. So be short and clear, rule number 1. Rule number 2, be memorable. So you want to have about 5 core values, maybe as few as 3. I don't really like more than 7. I think it gets hard to remember. Fun fact, back when telephones were a thing, where you couldn't just push the icon or tell Siri to call your mom, you actually had to remember the number. Phone numbers were 7 digits, because some study had shown that that's the number that we can pretty easily remember. And they even broke it into a 3 and a 4, right? It was like 567 1920. And then we had to add area codes to it because we got lots of phones, et cetera, et cetera. But 7's a good number. So more than 7, it gets hard to remember. Fewer than 3, it's going to be, I think, difficult to be unique. So plus or minus 5 is what we're going for here. And as far as memorable, I think you get bonus points if you can do something like an ABC, where they start with the next letter. So you've got accountability, balance, compassion, dedication, excellence. So your 5 things are A, B, C, D, E. Or maybe they all start with the same letter. The tech research company CB Insights has hard work, high standards, hunger, helpfulness, humility. So it's going to be memorable because they all start with H, or it's going to be memorable because it's A, B, C, D, E. Okay, number 3, and this is a big one, be real. These core values need to be who you really are and what you really care about. So don't pick things you don't believe. If you're a coffee shop, we love our customers might be great. But if you're an automotive supplier, that's probably not true. I've been in automotive and other OEM type supplier environments, and often we do not love our customer. So don't have something that's just not true. Or maybe take action. If you're a software startup, that could be a great core value. If you're an engineering firm where you need to worry about things like gravity and physics, well, then maybe not. Maybe we need to think and study and run some models before we just jump in. So if it's true, great. But if it's not true or not something that you should be doing, well, then don't say that. Number 2 here under be real is don't be aspirational, like innovative. Well, if you're a graphic design company, sure, you can be innovative. But if you're a plumbing contractor, you're probably not going to be that innovative. So don't do things because you kind of think you should or because that's what you think people do with core values. One of the ones I see a lot is data driven. Okay, if you're a search engine optimization and SEO agency, yeah, there's a lot of data there. You're probably going to be doing well to be data driven, and that should be something core to your business and how you do things. But if you're a florist, well, you're probably not data driven. So that's okay. Again, there's no right or wrong here. It's just what describes you and how you're going to do work. So if you're not going to be data driven, don't say data driven, because it's just going to send you back up into that place where people are rolling their eyes. All right. Third thing about be real. Don't use just those minimum conditions like integrity and honesty and respect, unless you're in an industry where there's a reputation, deserved or not, for lacking integrity or being dishonest. Then go ahead and say that sets us apart. This is how we do business, and it's different than other people. Because they're just honesty and integrity aren't likely to set you apart. And they're just not going to signal to your team that, hey, people like us do things like this. Well, I hope we're all honest and I hope we all have integrity. Generally, those kind of ideas are just basic requirements for working pretty much everywhere. And they're probably going to be addressed in your company handbook. So if somebody's dishonest or shows a lack of integrity, well, that's going to be cause for some kind of conversation and potentially dismissal. It's not going to be a violation of core values. Now, also avoid cliches like customer focused or our people are our greatest assets. Now, if these are true and they do set you apart, okay, but then you got to find a way to make them unique. So if you want to say we're customer focused, well, hopefully everybody is, but maybe you say something like, we create raving fans. Now, that won't necessarily set you apart or make you unique because that's a Ken Blanchard line, but not everybody uses it. Not everybody is all about we create raving fans. We want our customers to love us so much that they're wearing our gear like a sports team or they're getting tattooed like Harley Davidson. So if that's really you and you're fanatic about it and that's really core to who you are and what you value, well, then sure, go ahead and say customer, there's something around customer focus. But if not, that's probably not a thing you want to do, or instead of people are our greatest assets, maybe something like our success starts with our team, something that captures that phrase and that idea in a unique way. And then you can, again, have that paragraph after. So our success starts with our team, dash. We believe that the team is what's going to drive, interactions with our team is what keeps our customers coming back, et cetera, et cetera. So be real. Don't pick things you don't believe. Don't be aspirational and pick things you think you should have. Don't have the low bar of honesty and integrity. You're just wasting core values. If we're only going to have 5 or 7, let's not waste them on something that is kind of obvious. And avoid cliches, something that kind of everybody's saying, like we're customer focused. Okay. So that's number 3, be real. Number 4, be unique. You really want this to set your team apart. And so while you can share values with another company, the combination of values shouldn't describe a lot of other companies. And hopefully it doesn't describe any other company. Hopefully, if you look at your 5 to 7 together, that is a unique picture. Similar to that StrengthsFinder thing where your 5 strengths in order uniquely describe you. Now, you can copy some of your favorite companies, but remember that they should be your unique values. Don't just copy them because one of your favorite brands has it. Because Patagonia has build the best product doesn't mean you should too, especially if what makes you unique is your amazing customer service, not your product. Well, then build the best product might not be how we do things here. Whole Foods says we promote team member growth and happiness. Well, you might too. But I've seen companies that are primarily focused on sales. And for them, a lot of times it's about competing and winning. So it's not really growth and happiness. That might sound great, but it's just not true. And that's okay, as long as we don't say something that's not true. And also in those sales-driven companies, humility might not be a core value. So some examples of things that might be unique that I found poking around the internet. Bring your big ideas. Create wildly successful customers. There's a great way of framing customer focus. Grace of space. We trust each other. So if you're all about the team first, then yeah, we give grace. And grace of space, it has that little rhyme thing going on. It's unique. Or last one example, great design is not a luxury. So you got a 3-syllable word in there, but that's okay. I think it's an interesting, unique word. So we're saying like, yeah, we're all about great design. It's not a luxury. It's what we do. It's basic to what we do. That's going to set you apart. Again, they don't all have to be unique. So it's okay to have something about excellence or candid communication or customer service. Like we said, it's just that the combination, it makes you unique. And maybe the way you say it is also making you unique. And even if the way you say it isn't unique in your short 3 to 5 words, the paragraph after that explains it in more detail will be unique. So, okay, that was number 4, be unique. Make sure it's what sets you and your team apart. And then the last one is be actionable. The big question here with core values is kind of, so what? So then what do we do with these? Well, we put these into practice and we use these as a guide for making decisions. We're going to hire and, more importantly, fire based on these. There's no right or wrong here. There's only what we expect and what we won't tolerate. So going forward, you want to craft interview questions to see how candidates connect with your values. You want to make sure there's values alignment when you're bringing people in. The core values should be part of performance conversations. And when you get misalignment where people start to not be consistent with our core values, they start behaving in a different way than we said how we would behave, well, then we're going to have a conversation around that. And we're going to ask what's going on. And, hey, I noticed this. And how can I help you get back aligned? Or do we need to help you find somewhere else to work because it doesn't seem like you're a fit anymore for whatever reason? So we want these to be actionable. We want to be able to say, if back to like design, great design is not a luxury. Okay, so is this a great design? Because if not, we probably need to do another iteration because we're all about design. This is how we do things. We don't put mediocre design out there. We might do mediocre on something else. Sometimes good enough is, but when it comes to design, that's not who we are. That's not how we do things. So it's going to help people be clear about how they should behave. So that's number 5, be actionable. So, okay, to review, we want our core values to define how the team works. The core purpose is our what we do and who we serve. Core values are how the team works. And it's an internal thing. It's for our team. It's not for our customers. And to create our list, you can start with a blank page and send it out. If you don't have a lot of strong preconceived ideas, then go ahead and let the team come back with what they think is a description of our best people or our people at their best. Or you can use the Head Start method, where if you have a strong opinion about things, here's 7 to 10 things. Let's try to narrow it down to 5. I'll get some input on it because we want it to be collaborative to some degree. Whether we start blank page or start Head Start, we want the team to buy into this. And what are we going to choose as core values, where we're going to follow the 5 rules. Number 1, we're going to be short and clear. Number 2, we're going to be memorable. Number 3, we're going to be real. Number 4, we're going to be unique. And number 5, we're going to be actionable. And then we're going to integrate those core values into our business. So there you have it, my take on how to get started on core values. I would love to hear your take on core values. What have you done? What did you find worked? What didn't work? And frankly, just what are your core values? I really enjoy reviewing core values and talking about this stuff with leaders. So if you would like some help with your core values, please feel free to reach out to me. You can, again, reach me at ken@clarityadvisors.io. And I would love to either via email or maybe jump on a call, talk through your situation and help you refine and define your core values. So that brings us to the end of another Clarity Advisor show. So please subscribe and review the show on the channel you are watching or listening. And if you could share it with a friend, that would also be very helpful. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time on the Clarity Advisor show. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Clarity Advisor show. Clarity Advisors is a speaking, training, and consulting firm specializing in helping you simplify your sales and operating systems to improve efficiency and grow your profits. Connect with Clarity Advisors today to learn more about how they can help you improve communication and get your team aligned and engaged for greater success.